What if the world as we know it is on the verge of unimaginable change? Edgar Cayce, the famed sleeping prophet, made chilling predictions about the year 2025, foretelling catastrophic natural disasters, political upheaval, and even the dramatic reshaping of continents. But here's the unsettling part. Some of his visions are beginning to align with current events. From devastating climate changes to global tensions, the signs are eerily close to what Cayce foresaw. Could we be on the edge of a global transformation like he predicted? Brothers and sisters in Christ, stay with us until the end as we reveal shocking truths about Edgar Cayce's predictions that could change how you see 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can help spread this important message to others and stay informed about what's coming next. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Firstly, the decline and division of the United States. In the chilling prophecies of Edgar Cayce, a foreboding image of America's future emerges, warning of a dark time the nation might face. Cayce, a renowned prophet with the ability to tap into the subconscious, predicted that the United States would spiral into internal conflict, driven not only by natural disasters, but also by deep political and social divisions. These prophecies are not merely baseless warnings, but appeared to be slowly materializing through recent events. Recall the storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, a moment that shook the world. Thousands of people, fueled by political strife and dissatisfaction with the government, surged into the very heart of American democracy. Their actions not only threatened the lives of national leaders, but also raised a haunting question. Is this nation still united? Cayce once warned of a future where states might secede or even where the entire political system of the United States could collapse. If events like this insurrection continue, the dystopian future he envisioned may no longer be a distant possibility. We may witness a United States no longer a cohesive superpower, but a fractured and divided nation. In such times, prayer and unity seem to be the last remaining defenses against this looming downfall and division. Cayce urged that unless America finds its faith in God and in itself once more, the day when political and social disintegration becomes reality might be closer than we think. Dear listeners, Edgar Cayce, born in 1877, was a man who may have been chosen by God to guide us. From a young age, he devoted himself to the Bible and had visions that shaped his path. At 11, he asked for the power to help others, especially the sick. Could it be that God gave Edgar these abilities to reveal important signs to us? As it says in Amos 3:7, "Surely the Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets." Let us trust in God's wisdom and seek his guidance through these revelations. Before we reveal the frightening events now unfolding in America and the global catastrophes expected by 2025, let's first look back at the shocking prophecies of Edgar Cayce that have already come true. In the year 1902, Edgar Cayce performed a reading that would become a key part of his remarkable legacy. A 5-year-old girl, previously diagnosed with a terminal brain injury, was brought to him by her desperate parents as a last resort. Cayce, through his spiritual insight, discovered that her true ailment was not in her brain but in her spine. He recommended an adjustment to her vertebrae. Miraculously, within a few months, the girl had completely recovered, leaving many in awe of Cayce's ability to heal through divine insight. But Cayce's gifts extended far beyond health readings. He accurately predicted significant events in history. 6 months before the infamous stock market crash of 1929, Cayce advised his friends to sell their stocks. Those who ignored his warning ended up losing their wealth. In 1931, amidst the depths of the Great Depression, Cayce forecasted that the global economy would recover by the spring of 1933, and it did. Then, in January 1934, he prophesied Hitler's rise to power in Germany. Later that year, Hitler became the Führer. In August, Cayce also foresaw that Hitler's rule would last until an external war would overthrow him. In 1935, Cayce predicted the beginning of World War II, envisioning an alliance between Austria, Germany, and Japan. He also warned that many other countries would become involved in the conflict and that the U.S. would enter the war in 1941. Cayce also predicted the deaths of prominent American leaders, including John F. Kennedy and Franklin D. Roosevelt, as well as the civil unrest and racial strife that would shake the U.S. in the 1960s. In 1938, Cayce spoke of ancient temples submerged beneath the sea near Bimini, off the coast of Florida, suggesting that this could be part of the lost city of Atlantis. 30 years later, in 1968, the Bimini Road was discovered, a mysterious underwater rock formation in the Bahamas. Cayce described Atlantis as a massive civilization, as large as Europe, with advanced technology. He said it disappeared into the Atlantic Ocean around 10,000 years ago, possibly due to a great flood, a story that mirrors flood myths in many ancient cultures. One of Cayce's most striking prophecies was that the 44th President of the United States would be African American. This prediction came true with the election of Barack Obama. Later in life, Cayce made a chilling prediction about his own death. He prophesied that he would be buried 4 days after his passing, and remarkably, this came true, adding an eerie final chapter to his extraordinary life. Currently, there are alarming signs that echo Cayce's warnings of global transformation. Massive storms, escalating conflicts between superpowers, and unprecedented climate change all align with what Cayce foresaw. This has led many to believe that, once again, his prophecies are being confirmed through the unfolding events of today, with 2025 potentially marking the climax of these changes. Are we prepared for what's to come? Are we witnessing the beginning of the profound changes Cayce predicted decades ago? Let us reflect and prepare our hearts, as 2025 could be the year when these monumental shifts occur. His predictions are not just warnings, but an opportunity to seek unity, peace, and faith in God. Here is the exciting part you have been waiting for. The rise of China as a global superpower. Edgar Cayce, the renowned prophet with far-reaching predictions, painted an unexpected future for China, a nation once seen as a sleeping giant by the world. Cayce not only foresaw China's rise in economic and political power, but also predicted something even more profound. China would become a global spiritual and moral center, potentially even a new Christian leader in the future. It seems almost unimaginable for a country steeped in the traditions of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism to become a hub for the Christian faith. Yet, in his prophecy, Cayce described a deep transformation taking place over generations, positioning China to lead the world not only in material matters, but also in spiritual ones. This might sound far-fetched, but signs of this transformation could already be unfolding before our eyes. Consider China's remarkable development over the past few decades. From a war-torn nation, China has ascended to become the world's second-largest economy, just behind the United States. The bustling cities of Shanghai and Beijing, alongside monumental projects like the Great Wall and high-speed rail networks, are testaments to the material dominance that Cayce foresaw. Beyond this, China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative has extended its political and economic influence across the globe. But perhaps even more intriguing is China's potential future role in the spiritual realm. In a world filled with instability and division, Cayce believed that China would become a beacon of morality and spiritual guidance, fostering unity and peace. While this may seem distant now, it is not without foundation. The growth of Christianity in China over recent years has surprised many. From small house churches gathering in secrecy, Christianity has spread across major cities, with the number of believers rising rapidly. A key example is the construction of the Great Grace Church in 2019, one of the largest Christian churches in Asia. This symbol of material progress also reflects the growing spiritual strength within China. Just as Western nations once embraced Christianity and later spread it worldwide, China could potentially become a new cradle for faith and moral leadership. Cayce's prophecy suggested that China would eventually lead not only politically and economically, but also spiritually. If this comes to pass, we may witness the awakening of a nation that is not just a material superpower, but a spiritual torchbearer for the world. In these turbulent and uncertain times, perhaps this is the kind of renewal the world needs, a new flame of faith and compassion emerging from the East. Could such a future truly unfold? Can China really rise to become a moral and spiritual superpower as Cayce predicted? If it happens, how might the world change? Share your thoughts and leave a comment below so we can discuss this intriguing prophecy together. Conflict between the great powers. Edgar Cayce, the renowned prophet known for his striking predictions about humanity's future, warned of a time when rising conflicts between major powers such as the United States, Russia, and Europe would escalate. He believed these conflicts would not be limited to specific regions but could spread, potentially igniting a global war, bringing immense destruction and altering the entire social and eco. In our modern world, these warnings seem eerily relevant, especially when looking at current events. Take, for example, the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, which began in 2014 and continues today. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has not remained isolated in Eastern Europe, but has drawn in powerful nations like the United States and the European Union. Economic sanctions, political tensions, and the looming threat of a larger military confrontation have created a sense of unease. Could this be the beginning of the global war that Cayce foresaw? Imagine a future where these tensions spiral into a war that affects not only military fronts, but every aspect of life, economically, politically, and even spiritually. Cayce predicted that if nations do not seek reconciliation and compassion, the world could fall into a devastating cycle of hatred and violence. With these warnings in mind, we are left to ask, can the world find a path to peace before it is too late? Cayce's message highlights the importance of unity, prayer, and faith in God to avoid this looming danger. Natural disaster. Edgar Cayce warnings of catastrophic earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and rising sea levels are both chilling and thought-provoking. But amidst the dramatic visions he shared, we can also find messages of faith, hope, and the importance of turning to God in times of fear and uncertainty. Devastating earthquakes and Earth's transformation. He was particularly focused on the threat of massive earthquakes, especially in areas like the western United States. He predicted that cities such as Los Angeles and San Francisco could be devastated by powerful quakes, with the potential for these cities to be destroyed entirely or even submerged beneath the ocean due to the shifting tectonic plates. According to Cayce, these seismic events could happen sometime in the mid-21st century, drastically altering the geography of these regions. One example of this potential devastation was the Loma Prieta earthquake in San Francisco in 1989, which struck with a magnitude of 6.9, killing over 60 people and causing billions in damages. While this event was significant, Cayce's predictions suggest that an even more catastrophic quake is looming, one that could reshape the entire West Coast. If such an event occurs as Cayce predicted, it wouldn't just be a local disaster but a global one, with far-reaching consequences for millions of people. Volcanoes, awakening and unleashing destruction. Cayce's prophecies did not stop at earthquakes. He also warned of the reawakening of several deadly volcanoes. He specifically mentioned Mount Vesuvius in Italy and Mount Pelée in Martinique, both of which have a history of catastrophic eruptions. Cayce predicted that these volcanoes could erupt again with incredible force, causing widespread destruction and even impacting global climate patterns. Mount Vesuvius, which famously destroyed the city of Pompeii in 79 AD, stands as a stark reminder of the destructive power of volcanoes. Mount Pelée, which erupted in 1902, killing over 30,000 people, is another haunting example. According to Cayce, these volcanoes are only dormant and could erupt violently again, triggering disasters that would not only devastate nearby regions, but potentially affect the entire planet's climate, disrupting food supplies and economies around the world. Melting ice and rising sea levels. One of Cayce's most significant and terrifying predictions involves the melting of polar ice caps, leading to rising sea levels that could drown entire coastal regions. He foresaw that the melting ice would lead to a drastic rise in sea levels, submerging major cities like New York, Tokyo, and many areas across Europe. In his visions, much of northern Europe, including countries like Norway, Sweden, and Finland, could be swallowed by the ocean. In modern times, the threat of rising sea levels is becoming increasingly real as climate change accelerates the melting of polar ice. Events like Hurricane Sandy in 2012, which flooded large portions of New York City, serve as a foreshadowing of what Cayce predicted. Scientists today warn that if current trends continue, coastal cities around the world could face catastrophic flooding, potentially fulfilling Cayce's dire prophecies. Venice, New York, and other coastal areas may find themselves underwater within the coming decades if urgent action is not taken. While Cayce's predictions are dramatic and frightening, they are not meant to drive us into hopelessness. Instead, they serve as a reminder to turn back to our faith and seek comfort in God. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. These natural disasters may be warnings, but they are also opportunities for us to draw closer to God, to pray, and to find peace in His Word. Rather than succumbing to fear about what may happen in the future, we can prepare ourselves spiritually and emotionally by living with love, compassion, and unity, placing our trust in God's plan. Disasters and uncertainties may shake the world, but the foundation of our faith can remain strong, guiding us through even the most tumultuous times. As Cayce suggested, the key to navigating these difficult times is to rely on prayer, hope, and faith in God. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Prayer can provide comfort and peace during troubling times, allowing us to find solace and hope in God's protection. When the world seems uncertain, prayer becomes a beacon of light, reminding us that we are not alone. In light of Cayce's predictions, we must ask ourselves, how can we prepare for the potential disasters ahead? The answer lies in our faith. As Christians, we are called to be lights in the darkness, offering hope to those in fear. The Lord is near to all who call on Him. Psalm 145:18. By turning to God in prayer and trusting in His plan, we can face any challenge that comes our way. Let us come together in prayer for peace, for protection, and for wisdom as we navigate the uncertainties of the future. Whether it be earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or rising seas, we must trust that God is with us every step of the way. In faith, we can find the courage to face the unknown and the strength to rebuild in the aftermath of any disaster. So as we reflect on these prophecies and the state of the world today, let us not be consumed by fear. Instead, let us place our trust in God, knowing that through prayer and faith, we can weather any storm. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Philippians 4:6. With God as our refuge, we can face the future with hope and confidence. The potential for change in the Arctic and Antarctic. Edgar Cayce foresaw that in the future, Antarctica would lose its massive ice sheets and transform into a fertile green region suitable for agriculture. This dramatic transformation would not only reshape the global climate map, but also open a new chapter for humanity, as lands once thought uninhabitable become places where people could live, farm, and flourish. Recent events suggest that this prediction may not be as far-fetched as it once seemed. Global climate change is accelerating the melting of polar ice at unprecedented rates. According to NASA reports, Antarctica has lost over 2.7 trillion tons of ice in the past few decades, a staggering sign of the environmental shifts that Cayce foresaw. If these trends continue, the possibility of an Antarctica free of its icy covering and transformed into a lush, habitable land could become reality sooner than expected. While this transformation is astounding, it serves as a reminder of the ever-changing nature of the world and God's providence in the order of creation. The Lord is the maker of heaven and earth, the sea, and everything in them. Psalm 146:6. As nature undergoes these great changes, we are reminded of His ultimate power, and through prayer, we can find peace amidst the unfolding of these grand events. Russia's role in global relations. One of Cayce's most famous predictions was that Russia would play a significant spiritual role in the future of the world. He referred to Russia as the hope of the world, suggesting that it would offer new forms of moral and spiritual leadership. Today, the tense relations between the United States and Russia, particularly regarding global conflicts and Russia's influence on the world stage, have become a major focus in political discourse. Cayce did not imply this path would be easy, but he foresaw that through these challenges, Russia would emerge as a key player in humanity's spiritual restoration. In these uncertain and turbulent times, when fears about the future weigh heavily on our hearts, it is easy to feel shaken, unsure of what lies ahead. Yet, amidst the storms of life, we always have a steadfast refuge, God the Almighty, who is with us, guiding and protecting us through every trial. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. This beautiful reminder from Scripture assures us that no matter what great upheavals may come, God is with us, standing as an unshakable fortress. He is the creator of heaven and earth, the sovereign ruler over all, and everything in His hands follows a perfect plan. Nothing happens beyond His control. Do not be anxious about anything, Philippians 4:6, is a powerful reminder God gives us. Instead of being overwhelmed by the unknown, we are called to place our complete trust in Him. We may not know all the answers to the future, but God knows, and His plans for us are good. The challenges we face today are opportunities for our faith to grow, opportunities for us to turn to God, to seek Him, and to experience the peace that only He can give. Let us join together in prayer. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 invites us into a deep and constant conversation with God. Through prayer, we bring our fears, our uncertainties, and our hopes before Him, trusting fully in His care. Let us lift up our concerns about the future to the Lord, believing that whatever happens, He will lead and protect us. Jesus Himself said, "Do not fear, only believe." Mark 5:36. These words resonate in the heart of every believer, reminding us that we can face the future with hope because God is always with us, holding us in His almighty hands. Trusting in Him brings not only comfort, but also a renewed hope for a future where He directs every step we take. Let us share this message with everyone around us. Please like and subscribe to the channel so we can continue to spread the peaceful and hopeful messages from God's Word together. Leave a comment and share your thoughts on faith and trust in God, and share this video to help spread the love and message of Christ to as many people as possible. Together, we will find true peace in God, no matter what the future holds. God is our fortress, and He will never leave us.